So yeah, hi everyone. My name is Vardon, and I come from a family that has suffered from the consequences of war. So my relation to peace is a very personal one, first and foremost. But outside of my personal experience, I have worked in the communications of one of the Swiss presidents for half a decade. And in that job, one of my daily tasks was to go to work in the morning and first thing look through around 500 news articles and decide for each and every one whether it's relevant to the president and the team or not, and then take the relevant ones and create a press review that they used in their daily briefings. And so I did that work for half a decade. And in those 5 years, I've looked through more than 200,000 news articles. And more than 200,000 news articles, I think you can imagine that this had quite some effects on me. But importantly, in those 5 years, I also had some other experiences that together led to a bigger realization. And one of those experiences was that I lived in South Africa for half a year. I did an exchange semester there. I was studying to become a teacher. And I studied and lived there and also taught in different schools, in private schools, but also in township schools. So I was exposed to a lot of contrasts and different realities. I also, in those 5 years, worked with refugees, where I got to meet people from, hundreds of people from different countries that had to flee their home countries for different reasons, horrifying reasons. And all these experiences combined in that time frame sort of led me to emotionally realize that there's an incredible disconnect between our information environment, so the things that we consume online, and the lived realities of so many people around the world. And I couldn't stop thinking about that and asking myself the question of why is that? Why is our information environment so dysfunctional? And more importantly, how can we change that? And I knew that to change things, we need to look at the business model, because that's really where the root problems lie, especially with the advertisement model or the engagement model, attention economy, hate economy, whatever you call it. It's clear that in that business model, there is a financial incentive to drive up engagement, even if it comes at the cost of our mental health or our societal health, or all the other negative externalities that you all probably know way better than I do. So it's clear to me that we need to change the financial incentives. And I'm actually really encouraged by an idea proposed by the co-founder of BuildUp, Helena. She proposed a polarization tax, and I'm a big fan of that idea because it is at that sort of business incentive, financial incentives level. And so I see my work as an addition to that. Like, I'm trying to think about how could we replace the advertisement system completely with a different incentive system that is designed from scratch for public good. And so to do that, I knew back then that you have to look at the alternatives today and why they are not working. Why is the advertisement business model so predominant in our information environment? And so I knew I had to look at paywalls, because they are the biggest alternative today to the advertisement-based systems, and it's not working. But why? And it became clear to me that we have this situation today where high-quality content is hidden behind walls, accessible only to people who can afford it, while the worst toxic stuff spreads virally for free. So we have this fundamental asymmetry, and we need different systems. And that's sort of what I set out to do. I set out to build something different, and I was very privileged to find other people to join me. And together we have created Sparkable. It's a non-profit project, and Sparkable is an online platform that asks the question, what content on the internet can create new understanding? So we're trying to find the things on the internet, the insightful and peaceful content on the internet, and bring that together. So you can imagine Sparkable as like a giant filter where everybody can send in links to existing content on the web that had this effect of creating new understanding. And so the things that people send in start at the top of the filter, and then there's a crowd curation process where you vote on the things that you have seen from others that have created new understanding for you. And those are then moving down to the bottom of the filter. So you have at the top of the filter everything, and at the bottom of the filter only the crowd curated highest quality content. And then you as a user can choose whether you want to be at the top of the filter and see everything for free. So it's a model where There's no paywalls. You can access everything for free. Or you can choose to go to the bottom of the filter and see only less but better content, like the highest quality content curated by the crowd. And you pay a little bit for the privilege. So you see it's a paradigm shift from the paywall model. You don't have to pay to see everything, but you can pay if you want to see less but better content. And the important thing is that your payment is split and redistributed to everybody who has submitted the content and people who have participated in a crowd curation process and also the platform. So it becomes a circular model that doesn't need any third parties, no advertisers or anything like that. And importantly, it aligns the incentives, right? It aligns all incentives of the users and the platform with the public good, right? So you don't have that situation that you have in the advertisement model, where you sort of have different incentives pulling in all directions. And so we are still a very early stage organization, and we're currently testing out that model with a newsletter-based system. So you can imagine there's a free newsletter, and that's like the top of the filter. You see everything for free. And there's a paid newsletter where you can see only the crowd-curated stuff. You pay a little bit for that, and we sort of redistribute it. So we're trying to test it in the easiest way possible, in the quickest way possible, so that we can learn as quickly as possible from feedback from you. Because we need your help. We're an open source nonprofit project, and I'd love to hear your critical feedback and your ideas. And we see this really as a sort of foundational model on top of which we can then build other things. Like we heard from Ravi earlier about the design code, the Neely Center's design code for social media, pro-social design features, or yesterday there was a workshop by Luke Thorburn on bridging algorithms. You know, all these things are so powerful, but if you build them on top of an advertisement-driven model, it's like building a castle on sand. You're always going to have the financial incentives pulling in one direction, and then those pro-social features pulling in another direction of public good. So we're trying to create a foundational model where the financial incentives align towards the public good as well, so that these, you know, bridging algorithms and pro-social features can really sort of fulfill their full potential. And so again, I would love to sort of hear your feedback. Please come speak to me afterwards, or you can also contact me through sparkable.cc. We need your help, and I really believe that we can together, you know, create a new Twitter. We can replace those platforms. We can build things differently together, because yeah, when we get together, we can create a different, a healthier information environment that brings out the best in us instead of the worst. I really believe together we can create an information environment, not of hate, but of peace. Thank you very much.